right, and we're live. Deadman's Tome podcast. Your host, Mr. Deadman. Co-host Becky. How's it going, Becky?
Hey,
How you
I'm
doing?
fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. And tonight we have Bret
Awesome.
McCormick. How's it going?
Yes.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's no problem. It's no problem. I was enjoying watching Repligator. Let me tell you, I came for the Gators and I stayed for the tits, and boy, did it reward in that department. Man, I was like, all right.
We delivered on the tip, didn't we? Yeah, I learned that lesson from Jim Wynorski.
Oh man, that's a good
Oh
lesson to
yeah.
learn. Hey, but so
Jim's great.
did most of the money go to the girls? Come on, man.
Most of the money went to the lab because Repligator was shot on 35 millimeter film, which was not a cheap proposition. So by far, the majority of the budget went to a company called Allied plus WBS in Las Colinas, Texas, and paid for the processing and editing and all of that kind of stuff. You know, to be taken seriously back then, you had to shoot on film. There was no digital video that was of a high enough quality that you could shoot on it and be taken seriously if you wanted to get distributed.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. And filmmaking is totally different now. You know, well, especially. I mean, you have so much more equipment and so much more technology available. Like even just the software. I mean, being able to. There's kids that can do special effects like in their room. You know, just crazy things. And we're talking.
Absolutely, it's a totally different world. It's like 22 years later, and technology's been doubling and tripling every couple of years. So that's how we end up where we are now, man. It's a brave new world.
Okay, okay. I know it just sort of started like that, but for those who don't know who are you and what do you do?
Well, I am a writer in Texas, Bedford, Texas, from 1984 until 1996. I was what I like to call a Schlockmeister, meaning I produced extremely low-budget feature films for the direct-to-home video market internationally. I made really cheap movies from like total budget of $10,000 on up to $150,000. And these were really low budgets for films that were actually getting released back in those days. I got out of the film business in 1996. A couple of years ago at a birthday party, I was reminiscing with my buddy Glenn Coburn, who directed the movie Bloodsuckers from Outer Space. And we were talking about the old time, and another writer friend of mine, E.R. Bills, was present, and he said, man, this needs to be a book. So I wrote a book called Texas Schlock, and it covers low-budget science fiction and horror films that were shot in Texas from the 50s on up to the present day. And that's why I'm talking with people like you now, basically to let people know about Texas Schlock.
Man, I wouldn't even know where to begin to put.
And
Like, how do you put
that's
that
the
into a
book
book?
that I have, isn't it?
You have that book? I gotta check that book out.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it's received very positive reviews on horror and B-movie websites, and it's been selling pretty well. We do a lot of live events, and the film's been, or the book has been talked up on horrorpedia.com and horrornews.net and all of that. So we're getting orders from all over the world through Amazon, and then I have my own website where people can order it directly from me if they want it autographed or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I want to send mine to you so you can sign that one.
Okay, I'll be glad to.
Thank you.
So that's
It's a very, very good book. If you've never read it, Jesse, you would love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh man, I definitely need to. I mean, I'm just still curious how you would turn, schlock filmmaking and schlock films into a written form. I mean, it seems like it'd be like bizarro horror. Just probably more exaggerated.
Yeah, I think my premise for the book is that schlock film is a genre unto itself. It's fruit of the same tree that gave us punk rock and piercings and tattoos and underground comics and all of this counterculture, in your face kind of dissident art.
Okay. All right. Man. Yeah, I can see that, especially with something
with that.
Okay. So what was your first schlock film?
The first film I ever made was called Tabloid, and it was an anthology film. I did it with a guy named Matthew Devlin, who, if you search his name on IMDb, you'll see he's done some other films. And Glenn Coburn, who's famous for Bloodsuckers from Outer Space. The three of us got together, and we each directed little short segments, and then they were woven together. And basically, the story was about this fictional tabloid newspaper. And whenever someone picks up the paper and starts reading, then we go into the story that they're reading about. So there was a story about a baby born with a full beard. My episode was about some corpses who come back from the dead to have one last backyard barbecue. And there was one about a little girl who invents a vacuum cleaner that can cause tornadoes, and she's using it to help her dad's career because her dad's a TV news weatherman.
Okay. All right.
Love it.
That's good. Oh man. So wait a second. This sounds like something that can make a comeback. I mean,
well, we
Absolutely.
showed it. We had the first screening in over 20 years, the first public screening at Texas Frightmare Weekend last May.
all right.
And we had about 200 people present, and they all said that if we re-released it, they would buy DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever. So,
Yeah. Because that premise is gold.
I think enough time has gone by, and the longer as time goes by, even the most obscure and trashy stuff becomes a little more acceptable or respectable, whatever you want to call it. This audience of young kids who had never heard of me or the film were eager to buy copies of it. So, go figure.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see why. It kind of reminds me a little bit like Creep Show, Tales from the Crypt, where there's a thing that groups or kind of bridges the content all together. But this is like a tabloid, which
right.
I mean, Creep Show and Tales from the Crypt. I mean, that's all cool and all, but tabloids are like those things we all saw like at the grocery stores. They still have them, right? I mean, I don't know. They're not as outrageous though. I mean, you don't see like a bad boy.
I don't know if people read them. The internet's gotten so wild. I don't know why anybody would read it that way anymore.
Right.
Yeah, you just go to somethingawful.com or something, man. You don't need tabloids anymore. Just
You can go on Facebook. Are you kidding?
yeah. You have kids down in Tide Pods. You have snorting cinnamon, eating shit, literally. That's all sorts of stuff going on out there, man. Okay, man. Whew.
I'm glad we didn't do dumb crap.
I know, right? We did nothing dumb when we were kids. Nothing dumb.
No, I don't do anything dumb as an adult either, right?
No. Totally not. I mean, I guess while we're on the subject, what's the dumbest thing you've done as a kid, Becky? No?
Oh my Lord. I'd probably tell you the one where I got in the most trouble.
Well, Brett, do you want to hear this?
Yes, let's hear it.
All right. By the way, just when you tell the story, just let the listeners know. My shot cam. I have a shot cam here, and I'll take a shot. We'll play a drinking game. Let's do a have you ever, okay? So you just ask a have you ever question, and we'll try to answer it the best we can. All right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead and resume, Becky.
Okay. Well, my brother and I used to get in all kinds of trouble together, and he's telling me it's my fault, but it really wasn't, I swear. We decided to build bike ramps, and Mom looked out the front window and saw us jumping our bike off bike ramps that we built with old kitchen cabinet countertops and bricks, and like to had a heart attack. Yeah, we were kind of grounded from the bikes for a while, and the countertops got destroyed. And my dad was really mad.
Okay, all right.
We got in trouble for that one. We got in trouble once when we used Dad's brand new electric razor and shaved a stripe down the back of Mom's calico cat.
Ooh,
Mom caught us. Yeah, Mom caught us, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing." I had the razor behind my back, and she was like, "Let me see your hand." So I pulled one hand out and was holding the razor in the other one, and she was like, "Let me see your other hand." So I put my first hand behind me and grabbed the razor and showed her that hand. She said, "Now show me both hands." And I dropped the razor behind me and showed her both hands. Well, that didn't work real well.
No.
I thought I was going to die over that one, but she didn't quite kill me.
Not quite. Yeah. Not quite. Okay.
I was a bad kid.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second. That sounds good. I mean, what? You're just trying to shave the cat. You're just trying to help the cat out,
Yeah, she was hot. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
No, actually, we wanted to see how if the razor worked. It did.
Oh,
really well.
That's good. Look at that. Man, well, I'm glad you shared.
We were bad.
Well, now that you shared, I guess we can move on now because it's not like we're going to share our embarrassing kid stories.
Oh, yeah.
Did you take your shot?
Oh, not yet. I don't see any questions. But
what has to happen to make you take a shot? Explain the game.
They have to ask have you ever? So they just in the chat say like, have you ever done X or Y or have you ever done this or that? Easy stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I tell you what, Betty. Did I say Betty? What the fuck did I say Betty?
Becky. Why are you calling me?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to change my damn name.
I know. Becky, I tell you what, for being so brave and sharing that story, I'll go and take a shot now. Look at that. For the team.
Yeah, wait a minute. What are we drinking?
It's the rest of Gentleman Jack, and then after that will be followed by Jim Beam. Because I'm a drunk.
Ah.
All right.
Ooh.
All right. So on the subject of kid stories, I guess I could tell the one where I thought it was a good idea to throw rocks at moving cars. There was actually mud. Yeah, and I got my sister involved in it too. I don't know. I forgot how old I was. I was like, maybe I was in like 4th grade, maybe 5th grade. I don't know. It's like I knew I should have known better, but I was being really fucking stupid. It was at night. We're in the ditch, and we're just throwing mud, like these mud clumps. Whenever cars come by, just throwing it, and we're hiding in the ditch, like we're like being on like Vietnam, like guerrilla warfare shit going on,
Oh
and
my god!
Everything was cool because it kept on missing, But all of a sudden, this big white truck comes by, and boom! I smack it. It stops. Like it just stops. And my sister and I, we bolt towards the house. I'm saying we're flying. Okay, I go back in there. I go into my room. I hide under the covers, and all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and my dad answers the door, and I hear this guy go, "I think your damn ass kid just hit my truck with some mud." And it's like, oh man, that's my boy. Let me get my son out here. And I was like, Jesse, get over here. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. What the hell happened now? Of course, I knew what the fuck happened. It's like,
Right.
son, were you throwing rocks out of a ditch at moving vehicles? It's like, it's like, I know it was you.
Maybe.
I know it was you. You ran over back into the house. My problem is I just washed my truck. I washed it tonight, and you're throwing mud at it. So the guy just gave me a talk, and my dad gave me a talk too. And afterwards, my dad was like, "Son, next time you do something like that, why the hell do you run back home? Why the hell do you run back home? Run anywhere else. Why the fuck did you run back home?" It's like, oh, son of a bitch. Okay. So that's that
That's
one.
what I was going to ask you is why did you run home?
I thought it's the first thing that came to mind, Becky. First thing. I was like, just go home. Just go home under the covers. Oh, how about? I don't know.
You learned a valuable lesson that night. You never go back to your home base after committing the crime.
That's right. That's what I learned. Don't go back home after committing the crime. It's just not gonna work. Not gonna work out. But they'll be looking for you, especially when they see you running to home. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man. I don't know, Brett. Do you have any embarrassing kid stories?
Yeah, I have lots of embarrassing kid stories, but unlike you guys, I never got caught. I was the kid in the family that did everything, but I never got caught. So if I start talking about them, it'll be like first time they've ever been revealed to anybody.
Oh man, it'd be like a code case is being solved, huh?
Yeah.
Man. Whew. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see.
We have 14 subscribers.
We got to find a way to crack open that vault. Maybe something will happen tonight during this conversation. Get you loose.
14 subscribers?
Yeah, got the 14 subs. You got to move that up to 15. We get up to 15. I'll take a shot of Jim Beam over here. This is bonded, by the way. It's 100 proof. So that's gonna kick my ass.
Some more people subscribe.
Yeah. I'm a drunk. I'm a drunk. It's all right. All right. So tell me about Abomination. Because this one, okay, I was watching this, and this movie's like gory as hell. Man, it's probably one of the bloodiest movies I've seen in a while. Pretty graphic
Pretty
stuff.
gory.
Yeah.
We had just a shitload of fun making that movie. And let me back up. We did tabloid, okay? We were kids just getting started. We stumbled into some money from an investor, and we spent like $112,000 making tabloid. And then because it was like this not very good, hard to categorize movie, nobody wanted to distribute it. So we backed up and we thought, okay, what did we learn? We learned not to spend so much money. And we talked to all these low-budget distributors out in L.A., and they all wanted horror movies. And one in particular said they were doing really well with re-releasing the old films of Herschel Gordon Lewis. Are you familiar with Herschel Gordon Lewis?
Gordon Lewis.
No.
No. Sorry.
He invented the gore film.
Okay.
He did 5,000 Maniacs and Blood Feast and all of these extremely gory films that before the rating system were released into X-rated theaters because they were too gory for general release, okay? So anyway, this guy, Herschel Gordon Lewis, he's got this huge cult following, and he did these movies really dirt cheap back then. So we thought, okay, we'll do a Herschel Gordon Lewis style gore extravaganza, pull out the plugs and do as much gore as we can possibly do in 90 minutes. And we did it. We shot 2 films for $10,000 each and shot them back to back in Poleville, Texas. We shot The Abomination first. Then immediately after that, we shot Ozone, Attack of the Redneck Mutant.
Oh, man.
And both of them, we just pulled out the stops. We didn't try to make it. We knew we didn't have the budget to create suspense or have the thing be taken seriously on that level. So we just tried to overwhelm people with the gore factor.
Mm.
And consequently, I mean, the Abomination has a huge cult following. I got contacted last month by a publication in France that wanted to interview me about the Abomination. So, I mean,
Wow.
you know, it's you never know what's going to find its little niche out there in the world.
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, you really don't. Oh man, I mean, trying to find it, like I had to find that film on YouTube to, to watch it. Of course, I'm glad I did. I was able to watch. I watched the whole thing. Man, whew, gory, like just bloody. It has like this.
It was really hard to find it. It was one of those legendary films for a while. People talked about it, but it was only released on VHS and then nothing for the longest time. And so collectors got really serious about it. And recently I was friended on Facebook by a guy who said he just bought an original VHS of the Abomination. He paid $350 for it. So,
Holy
I mean,
balls.
there's definitely a certain contingent of people who find the Abomination extremely entertaining.
I mean, man, it's not like you get a cut of that money or anything. I mean, shit.
No, but still, I mean, there are people out there paying that, and because they're paying that, it sort of increases the value of my new DVD release of the film. So.
Man, but that movie was so wild. Like, there was a scene where, okay, but I was a little confused. Okay, so there was like this bloody plant thing that kind of reminded me of like Little Shop of Horrors. It was like the Abomination. It was like mind controlling the guy.
Yeah.
So he'd go find his victims, usually women, of course. I guess kind of how it works. Feeding them.
Women are easier to catch.
Yeah, I guess. Very, very vulnerable, huh? That they kind of open themselves up. Because the guy, he didn't look like a bad guy if you see him coming to you. I mean,
yeah.
He just wore sunglasses all the time.
Looked kind of stylish in that early '80s sort of way with that upturned collar and those sunglasses.
Yeah. I mean, hell, he's like a guy that would wear sunglasses at night. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I would do that. All right. There was like the scene where he's flushing a cat. Oh no, wait. Did he flush the cat, or did he just drop the cat in the toilet?
He put the cat in the toilet along with one of the tumors he coughed up because it needed something to eat so it could grow big enough to kill a frog.
Okay. That's what's missing. Oh, okay. So those things he was coughing up were tumors. So it was like
so these tumors get inside people and then they cough them up and they grow into these huge things like in the cabinet that just want to be fed all the time.
Oh man.
Oh my.
Like, have you thought about redoing that movie now with especially since it would be, I mean, well, I'll just leave it there. Have you thought about redoing the movie?
No, but I am doing a novelized version of it.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
I mean, the novelized version will help sort your thoughts on it, I suppose. But after that, I mean, are there plans? I mean, are you still doing film work?
No, I haven't done a movie in 22 years.
Oh man, I really want to see it though. I want to see what happened. I mean, technology has changed. It'd be easier. I mean, you just combine
I was friended by a guy named Justin Sansa, who's a tattoo artist somewhere in America.
All right.
Recently on Facebook, and he asked if he could get the rights to remake the movie, and I'm like, probably not. But I told him who to get in touch with.
Oh wow.
I mean, he could just I mean, you own the trademark though, right? I mean, you own. You
Well,
own it.
it's my intellectual property,
Yeah.
but the original film that we made is owned by my former partner, Matt Devlin.
Yeah. I mean, another problem you might run into is if you use a movie called the title Abomination. I mean, you might run into some other problems like, with these superhero movies coming out, kind of using the same thing and be like, okay, what's this? I don't know. But, I mean, would you have a problem with someone trying to, like, I guess, be influenced by the idea? Because the idea of, like a monster growing from, like, tumors that spread, like spores or whatever, that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like something that would be reused later on. Hell, it actually already has, like, through video games, like, let's say Halo, like the Flood, pretty much tumors that grow on people and expand and all that.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet the guys that designed those games saw my movie when they were kids.
Yeah,
Probably so.
probably. They're like, but they're not going to write you a check. You're not going to get a cut of it. None of it. Oh, man.
Well, yeah. I
Of course
think
not.
everybody steals from everybody else. It's just the way. It's just the way the horror cookie crumbles.
Okay. I mean, it's, you get ideas, get influence, and maybe help make an idea better. Okay. Now, Repligator. I know I started the show talking about that, but man, that's the first one I saw. Let's talk about Repligator. Yeah, tell me about this idea. What was
Let's
going on
talk
with it?
about Repligator. In 1995, first of all, Roger Corman was always like this huge influence on me. I read everything I could read about him. I, watched his movies, all that kind of stuff. And I had read that one year, he made 5 movies in 1 year. And I thought, okay, I'm going to meet Roger's record. So I produced a film called Takedown, which was an action film. Then I produced and directed a film called Time Tracers that became Time Trap. And it's a time travel picture that stars Jeffrey Combs of Reanimator fame. Then I did Biotech Warrior about a killer cyborg on a rampage. And after that, I had all of these short ends of film sitting in the refrigerator. And it was enough film, I felt, to make another movie. And I had heard how Roger Corman did the original Little Shop of Horrors in, I don't know, different people tell the story different ways, but anywhere from 3 to 5 days he spent on the original Little Shop of Horrors film that later became kind of a cult classic and, of course, inspired the much better big budget musical. Anyway, so I decided I was going to do a 4-day picture, and I told Keith Jornes, who was the guy who was editing my films at the time, and a very talented guy, who was good, really good sense of comedy and just a great writer. And he went on to write, I think I was telling you, The Devil's Tomb, starring Cuba Gooding Jr. It was kind of a military guys unearth an ancient demon somewhere in the Middle East. Anyway, so he didn't just do Repligator. He went on to do some respectable stuff. But I gave him 1 week to write a script. And he and T.G. Weems, the guy that did the cheesy CG, they got together and they wrote Repligator. And I was like, okay, great. Let's go ahead and make it. And we got all these people together and we made this film. And when we shot it on 35 millimeter, it was photographed actually very well by a lady named Sean Freeberg. And when we got it edited, it was only 75 minutes long. Well, nowadays, I mean, with all the different streaming venues and everything, that would not be a problem. But back then, it had to be 90 minutes long. So that's when I showed the film to my friends over at Aries Productions. They agreed to put up some more money, and they brought Gunnar Hansen and Brink Stevens to town, and we shot 3 more days of footage with them, and then we got the running time that we needed in order to put it out into the world. And I think it got some limited release on cable television and stuff like that before I ended up licensing it to Glenn Coburn over at Whacked Movies, who is now the distributor of record of that film. And I still continue to get checks from them for that. So
Cool.
Repligator, as odd, people say it's the kind of film Ed Wood would make if he was still alive. It is very much like that.
Yeah.
But it attracts a certain type of audience. And when I was at Frightmare Weekend, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, "You're the guy who did Repligator? Man, I saw that. I streamed that. It was great." So different strokes,
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a cult classic for sure. I don't know if you know this, but Repligator has been on popular YouTube shows like Best of the Worst, like Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst, where they take a bunch of like cult classic, I guess, B-movie horror films, whatever, schlock horror, not just horror, by the way, and they pretty much just watch and talk about it. A lot of people do that on YouTube. It's
yeah.
So even if they have fun watching it, it's still they're watching it, and it's a funny movie. It's a movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Even, I mean, come on, I have images from
It
running.
doesn't take itself seriously at all, as far
No.
as I know.
I mean, you got the guy from Leatherface. You got the guy who is Leatherface, with a, what is it, like a chalkboard that the acronym is shit. What
Yeah, sexual hologram interface terminal.
Yeah.
That's a highly technical term, man.
Yeah. You gotta get it
That
down.
that was the science fiction part of it.
And it's a movie that predicted the future. I mean, it had like the transsexual ban in the military, or like transsexuals infiltrating the military, and the military's all pissed about it. Like, what's going on here? What is this? What's going on? It's like,
Yes, you're right. There is something a little prophetic about that, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. Look at that. You can foresee the future, but not only that, but
He
this
has a crystal ball.
Yeah, a crystal ball. Look at that. I like that. And I like what he did with it, though. Well, actually, when I was watching, I was like, wait a second. Are these supposed to be the transsexuals? Because these are some hot ladies. I'm like, what's going on here? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, man, they fully change. It's like a magic machine that you go in as a man, you come out all the way changed.
It's a hot babe.
Oh, chromosomal level, all the way. You are changed. Ooh, man. That.
Well, Jesse's definitely a fan, Brett.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say that. You can say that.
I earned one more fan today.
So I have to ask, though, it must have been wild filming that one with as much nudity as it had.
It was a lot of fun. That was on a personal note, I've been clean and sober for 5 years now, but I certainly wasn't back then. And it was like party central, just, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make the most of it. You got to party. I mean, you have chicks, ladies. I mean, I'm guessing they were strippers, right, or something. They
were strippers, yeah. They certainly were.
They were wearing the gator mask, which I don't like complaining. I think the alligator mask came out a little too late. I was like, man, I wanted this sooner. Man, I wish it would. But I was like, then I got to thinking, I wonder if the film crew, I wonder if they had some parties with the ladies with the gator masks, like what's going on behind stage, what's going on in the back rooms there. Anything you can
Jesse
tell
was
us?
a behind-the-scenes movie.
No telling what went on in those back rooms.
Oh man, you mean?
I will tell you an interesting story. While we were making that, Tome was very hot. The film distribution company.
Oh yeah.
Tome. They were the subject of a report that was being done by a German television show. That's the equivalent of 60 Minutes. It's like 60 Minutes in German. Germany, okay? They came over to do a program about trauma. And Trauma contacted Fred Olin Ray and said, we need, to keep our stuff from looking like such shit, we need a really low-budget film company that they can compare it to and come shoot some stuff. Would you be interested in doing that? And Fred's like, fuck no, I'm not going to do that. And so he sends them in my direction. And we had no pride. We were like, hell, yeah, come on. So we were featured in this like 20-minute photojournalistic thing they had in Germany about trauma, and they were, like comparing Trauma's films to our films to make Trauma look, I guess, a little bigger and better.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Wow.
Huh. Well, look.
That's too cool.
I mean, that is cool, but at the same time, man, Trauma is like just using you guys. They used you guys. Man.
It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were just having so much fun. I mean, just doing 5 films in 1 year was incredible, man. I was on a high. It was like a dream come true for me, After we did Repligator, then I wrote a letter to Roger Corman, explained to him that I was trying to match his record and I pitched to him doing a remake of Beast with a Million Eyes, which was the film he did like in 1955. And I even proposed doing it on the same budget that he shot his at in 1955. Well, he was impressed enough that he got on the phone and called me and said, Bret, I'm going to help you make your 5th film, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do a remake of a film I did called Street that starred Christina Applegate. So I got to do my 5th film of the year, and it was called Rumble in the Streets, and we shot it in Fort Worth.
Oh, wow. Hey, wait a second. You said Christina Applegate? Wait.
Roger Corman did a movie called Street with Christina Applegate. It was her first feature film after she was on that Married with Children program.
Yeah.
And it was a gritty thing about a teenage prostitute. Well, then 5 years later, he asked me to remake the film.
Was she in it?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
No.
Oh. That'd be kind of cool to work with her, I guess. I mean, but I've seen on the internet.
He sent us a really talented young lady who had been in Playboy, and she played the lead. I'm trying to remember her name right now. Kimberly Rowe.
Oh.
Kimberly Rowe.
She was in Playboy.
She'd been in Playboy, and you know what I'm talking about. Full frontal nudity. He insisted on that.
Yeah. Man, that's something. Yeah. Okay. Man, and look at the Internet Movie Database. Even though these are schlock films and low budget B movies, I was about to say horror again, but the one that I watched, I saw a trailer of it. I thought it was hilarious. This movie should be a classic. Macon County War. There was the scene. I started laughing when there was like a dude with I think he's just using a rifle, and he shoots down a No, he doesn't shoot down a helicopter. The helicopter freaking explodes in the air. Like, he shoots a... it's just gone. It's all right. This is wild. This is a wild movie.
Well, you know what? That wasn't in the movie. That wasn't in my edit of the movie. Oh. But I did have an exploding helicopter in a movie called Highway to Hell.
Oh.
And so Fred Ray thought, man, an exploding helicopter looks good in the trailer. Let's just cut his exploding helicopter out of his other movie and stick it in this movie. So it made absolutely no sense, but it added, I guess, some production value. I don't know.
So wait a second. There wasn't an exploding helicopter in the actual movie, just in the trailer?
Well, no, I think he actually put it in the movie too.
Okay, well that's good.
But
that's good.
It wasn't in my edit of the movie. He stole.
Right, he added it.
He added it. Okay.
Helicopter from another movie that I had made and just plugged it into this movie.
Okay, well, what about the exploding cars? Because there was a part where a car explodes, like a grenade and shit like that.
Yeah, we did that.
Okay, and that looked like that was a real explosion, right? It was like, I mean, you blew that shit up.
Yeah, we shot a lot of films in Bullville, Texas, because they would let us blow up anything we wanted.
That's
Oh,
cool.
cool.
That's cool, man. All right, and even
I
work
want
with.
to play.
Yeah, you just go over there and blow shit
Things
up.
aren't that easy nowadays. I mean, if you tried to do that even in Bullville today, you'd probably get shut down.
Probably.
Oh, I got a question in the chat.
Damn, that would have been a lot of fun.
Probably have to go to the Philippines or Mexico or something to do that now.
Yeah.
You're probably really right.
I have a question in the chat. What is Roger Corman like?
What is Roger Corman like? Roger Corman was, like I said, kind of my idol for a long time. And when I contacted him out of the blue and asked him to help me get my 5th movie, he was just very accommodating. And he came the first couple of days of shooting. He just showed up in Fort Worth and hung out on location with us and watched what we were doing, I guess, to get a sense of whether or not we knew what we were doing. He was very complimentary. He took us, me and the 2 leads and the DP and a couple of other people out to a really nice restaurant for dinner. And it was great. You know, it was great getting to work for him after sort of dreaming about doing that since I was like 12 years old.
You know, it's funny because people always say don't ever meet your idol, you know, or you'll be disappointed. Obviously you've met yours and you weren't disappointed. I've met mine and I wasn't disappointed.
I had heard all of the stories about what a tightwad he was and how he would squeeze blood out of a nickel, and he is that way. But I mean, I kind of expected that. So.
Right.
Yeah, but
But you wouldn't have traded meeting him for anything, though.
I'm sorry, what?
You wouldn't have traded meeting him, though. I mean,
no, and do it, and making 2 movies for him. It was like a dream come true for me.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't have traded meeting mine either.
Oh man.
Not for anything.
Who was yours? Becky?
Mine is Ray Garton, actually.
Ray Garton, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely love him. So amazing.
Yeah, he's been on the show before.
And I have for a long, long time. Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed his Law Lizard book. That was good. That was a good one. Yeah. Oh man. I still need to read more of his work, man. But
yes, you do.
And I'm like, man, you made your idol. You were filmmaking for a while. I'm just surprised that you stopped. Like, why stop?
Oh man. Well, there was a distributor in Dallas who I had done some work with, and that year I gave him 3 of my films. And I had pretty good contracts with him that guaranteed a certain amount of money at a specific time. And right before the contract came to fruition, he, first of all, he had just built a $500,000 home, which was $500,000 was worth a lot more back then. And then he filed bankruptcy so that he wouldn't have to pay me. And there was nothing, I had no legal recourse. And I had worked my ass off, and this was just another in a long stream of crooked deals, you know, and I just decided, you know, I've been doing this for 12 years. I almost always have to fight people to get the money that's owed me, and I just don't want to do that anymore.
Right. I mean, I can see why.
Yeah.
But that's horrible.
I mean, there's sleazy people you're going to run into a lot. I mean, but there's all these young cats, all these new kids, young cats. It sound like an old fart talking like that. But there's young blood, and I literally mean young, like teenagers. They're in high school, and all they have is a camera. Maybe they just have their phone, and they are putting videos on YouTube, highly editing them. What's his name? Freddie Wong. He has a YouTube channel where he does like special effects and whatever, and it was pretty much like it used to be just a small operation. And the guy would just make videos to show him what he can do for like special effects and this. And then there's people who are doing like low budget stuff, making the most they can out of this and that. Just making $500 work, maybe $5,000. I don't know if the money's really there anymore. I mean, I don't know if it's harder to even earn the money. I don't know. It's just I just see that and I hear your story and I'm just like, man.
It's a different world now. The internet was really just getting up and running then, and there weren't all of these. There wasn't Amazon Prime. There wasn't all of these different streaming venues. Now, if you're really interested in making a low budget movie, you can do something for just a few $1,000s, and it looks great because the quality of the equipment is so much better and accessible, and you don't have to have a distributor. You can just sign up with one of these streaming venues, and you get paid a certain amount of money every time someone watches it. So, but I don't know that, when I was making movies, I wanted to come up through the ranks, like working with Foreman and then move on to something else. And I think my goal was ultimately to be making some bigger budget movies, And probably that could have happened if I had stayed with it. But the whole equation is so skewed now. It's going to be like a very tiny percent of people who move into any kind of a Hollywood career out of making independent films, because there's just too many venues for it. The marketplace is so fragmented. There's all these different little niche markets and genres, and so I think you can make great movies for the rest of your life and still never be a well-known filmmaker.
Probably so. And that stinks because that stinks.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, especially back for you. I mean, you were actually acquiring the money through like producers. But in these, I don't know, man. Sometimes it seems like people have it easier now, especially technology, and you can do a lot more or less. But and that's why, like, when I showed my wife what I was watching last night, when I was watching Repligator, she's like, "What the hell are you watching?" And she was like, "It looks all cheesy, it looks corny, whatever." It's like, look, it looks that way. And yeah, I guess watching it and see, I played a lot of video games as a kid. I know I even reference this like Command & Conquer. There might be some people watching who know what I'm talking about. Like Command & Conquer for PC, they had like these little movie not intros, but movies in between the missions. They were all like it was live action. It had like actors doing like kind of like corny acting, but it was there. But you had the props, but because it was for a video game, it was like you watch your pennies. It was budgeted, So it kind of reminded me of that, but what I'm comparing is that was like later on. So you did actually more with less than they did. So I was trying to relate it to my wife in a way. I was like, look, this kind of, I know it looks cheesy, and it's a cheesy horror film. We're talking about chicks with gator heads. We're talking about chicks with gator heads and laser beams and shit. I mean, but it's a fun movie. It's a fun. And I was like, just look at that scene. Look at that scene. Look at that scene right there. Look at what's on the chalkboard. They're literally using shit. Look at that newspaper. It literally has transsexuals in bold, and you have this general who's fuming. He's mad. He's spitting as he's yelling, "Why the fuck is this going on in the military? What the hell?" And then you have it where like these chicks are coming out of this body changing machine. A body changing machine that if any 14-year-old had in their room, they would never come out of their room. You know, they'd be changing one part of it. And
Right.
yeah, they'd be playing in forever. It's like, this movie's hilarious. I think that's what wins. It's like the dialogue, the funniness of the script. That's what wins. That's what sells. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I went on a rant. I went to rant on
the
right
guy who wrote it. I think the guy who wrote it was like a very talented guy. He's no longer alive. But like I said, after he did some films with me, he moved to LA and started writing and selling some screenplays out there. And his name was Keith Jornis, and he was just like a super talented guy. He played the big fat scientist in the movie.
That's right. Okay. Man. Oh, we got another question in the chat. Do you think if you... Okay, let's see. If you think if you did make it big, your movie history could hurt you?
James Gunn comes to mind, even though it was less movie history.
Yeah, I was going to make
Here's what
it
I
two
think.
part. Yeah. Okay.
I like it when you can see someone's evolution as an artist.
Right.
And I admire people who do something with nothing and just put it out there. Like I said, I think what I was doing comes from the same kind of impulse that gave us underground comics and punk rock and stuff. It wasn't about pleasing any kind of a mainstream sensibility. It was, in fact, about breaking as many of those rules as you could and seeing who got it, you know?
Right.
All right, that makes sense. And he also follows up with what type of films would you want to make with a bigger budget and less restraint?
Well, I don't want to make any more films ever again. You know, I would have wanted to make, I always wanted to make horror films. And I would have made nothing but horror films if I could have found distributors who were willing to give me the money to make them. But most of the distributors felt like they could hedge their bets by doing the cheap action picture, that the chance of a return was better for them. Because you got to bear in mind, we were selling these things all over the world in little countries everywhere, any place where they had VHS tapes. So there are a lot of countries that don't have their own film industry, so they have to import all of their movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of those territories, you know, there were distributors who wanted to pick up really cheap movies, which is where my movies came from.
Okay. Man.
Yeah. So and a lot of them, Muslim countries and stuff, it was really hard to get a horror film released over there.
Oh, yeah, I bet
But
so.
it was easy to get a Macon County War released over there. So.
Oh, wait a second.
Right.
You mean that, because like I said, it was hard for me to find this. It's hard. I don't know how. I think it would be even harder to find an actual physical copy. Maybe I need to do some scouting around. Whew.
You could always friend Fred Olin Ray on Facebook and ask him if you can buy a copy from him.
Well, maybe. So
he was the executive producer. He owns the rights to it. Got Dan Haggerty, you know. He was Grizzly Adams on TV.
You know what? I was going to ask you this too. Like work throughout this film work, who are some of the actors that you really enjoyed working with?
I loved working with Joe Estevez. That's Martin Sheen's brother.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was in two of the films I directed, and he was in another film that I wrote that a friend of mine directed. I really liked Joe. He was a really good B-movie guy, a real trooper, very professional, easy to get along with, just a great all-around guy. I worked with Richard Harrison, who in Highway to Hell, he had been like in a bunch of Hercules movies and spy movies and stuff in Europe back in the 60s. So he was someone I knew from like watching television. And again, he was really easy to get along with and very professional. Dan Haggerty was like just a miserable person. I couldn't wait for him to put him on the plane and send it back to LA.
Oh, really? Like,
Oh, wow.
why was he like that? He was just miserable?
Well, I don't know if you know his history, but after his TV show, when he was on Top of the World, he got busted for cocaine, and he his career just sort of fizzled out, which is why he was having to be in movies like mine. And he was real bitter about it, and he was just kind of just an asshole.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So wait, his career his career went down when he was busted for coke?
Yeah, it was all over the tabloids. It was all over the news. He was kind of a biker kind of a guy anyway.
Okay.
Behind the scenes, he was this lovable Santa Claus kind of guy on TV.
Yeah.
But in real life, he was kind of a biker kind of a guy.
Huh.
And he probably pissed off the wrong people, and they ruined his career,
But I'm still waiting for the problem, though. But we're talking about getting busted for coke in a land where coke is plentiful and just about everyone. I mean, like, what? Especially this day and age. I mean, who doesn't have a coke problem? I mean, shit.
It wasn't this day and age, man. We're talking about this was like 1990 when his career hit this dude.
Yeah, they're delusional then. People weren't talking, though. Man.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the people who blackballed him are probably using too. They're probably using with him. Probably snorting lines on the hookers' asses.
Probably so. Probably so, but I don't recommend that because the hooker's ass, the skin absorbs some of the coke. You want it on a hard surface like glass.
Yeah. So wait, the Wolf of Wall Street scene, is that just a waste of coke? I mean, what's going on there? Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, you haven't. Oh, I thought. Well, it was the very first scene of the movie. He's like blowing coke into a. I think he's snorting coke out of a woman's asshole or something. It's just, what the hell's going on here? What's wrong with this guy? Ugh.
Wow.
I mean, at least have it sanitary,
No, it's not right. It's just wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've been talking a lot about your movie career, your film career. Tell us more about your writing career. What's going on with that?
Oh, well, let's see. I've written 4 or 5 novels. 2 of them I self-published. Wrote a novel called Hellfire. That was my very first one. Then I wrote a second novel that's actually pretty good, and I'm trying to get someone in LA interested in making a movie out of it, called Headhunters from Outer Space. It takes place in Alvarado, Texas, and the reason it takes place in Alvarado, Texas, is that's the birthplace of one of my favorite writers, Terry Southern, the guy that gave us Doctor Strangelove and Easy Rider, and Candy, and The Magic Christian, and all of these iconic films from the 60s. He was born in Alvarado, Texas, so I have my story take place there. And it's about a couple of interdimensional beings who are talent scouts, and they come to Earth to gather talent, but the way they do it is they cut people's heads off and download the contents of their minds into their ship's computer.
Oh, man. If only they could find a less savage way.
Love it.
I mean, if they could find a less savage way to do that, I mean, that would be great. I mean, shit, they just have to cut people's heads off to download. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, they they put the heads back on the people after they're done. It's not like they really hurt anyone in the long run, but it's, it kind of freaks people out when they see people getting their heads cut off and stuff.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. And when they put the heads back on, are they making sure that the body still works, or are they just putting it back on and been like, oh?
Yeah, they put it back on and everything's fine, except people have these really ugly scars on their necks now.
Oh.
And the government knows all about it, and they have a cover-up, and they have to come up with this bogus reason to explain the scars.
Oh, that's so weird.
Huh.
So bizarre. And
That's
wait.
pretty cool.
And the people are living? They survive this somehow?
Yeah.
Oh.
You need to read the book, man. I think you would love it.
I know, that's
a really cool homage to the 60s and B-movies of the 60s and the counterculture and all of that.
Man, that's some X-Files level shit right there. That's beyond that. I mean, download it to the head, just taking the head off. And is there blood involved, or just like, oh, just got your head off?
Oh yeah. There's well, I don't want to tell too much, but it's a pretty interesting. I think it would make a great, and it wouldn't even have to be a big budget movie. I think it would make a great movie. Now, I just got a message on Facebook from Gary Kinnemer, who's a filmmaker I've worked with back in the day, and he says, I'm listening, but every time I call in, I get a recording saying we're not taking calls at this time. So what should I tell Gary?
He's probably using the wrong number. Let me see what number, because
Maybe my fault.
What number should I tell him to call?
The number is 713-636-5637. And the way Skype has been lately, I don't know if I'll be able to group them all together, but I could definitely try. If not, he can ask his question. I'll try to regurgitate it to you, and that might be interesting. But we'll give it a shot. So yeah, if he calls a number, it should work, unless it's not gonna let it because it's already like busy. Which, if that's the case, then I'll have some problems with Skype later on. Okay,
so I just messaged him. Maybe he'll call.
Okay.
Gary is the guy who wrote Highway to Hell.
Oh yeah.
Which was a movie, and he was originally going to direct it. He started directing it, and his wife left him like after the first week, and he was an emotional wreck and an project, but which was a really tough decision. He was a very good director, and the film probably would have been better if he had been able to finish directing it. But the film got made, and it made a profit, and Richard Harrison did a great job for us, and my ex-wife, Blue Thompson, played the female lead, and pretty good psycho killer on the loose movie.
Man, okay. I was listening, but I was also thinking about Gary's problem too, because I'm wondering if he's calling. See, okay, Skype used to have it to where when someone calls in, it would just be like, okay, you can merge it all together, or you can put this one on hold. If he's calling in and it's saying that this line is busy because I'm talking to you right now, I'm gonna have a problem with Skype because this. Oh wait, no, we have an incoming call. Sorry. Oh, let me take care of this. One moment.
You forgot to pray. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, I did. I forgot to pray. All right.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
All right. This is Gary.
All right, Gary. How's it going? Let me see if I can add you to.
I'm doing all right. Hey, Brett, can you hear me?
No, not yet. I'm trying to see if I can add you to the call. It's it just gives me in call, mute microphone, place call, and hold. That is horrible.
Okay.
Add people to this call. I can add people to this call, but I can't all add. Oh my God!
Well, I saw the Abomination when he finished it, and he showed it to me, and he shot it in Super 8, and I was like blown away by how cool it was. Because all of my movies, I started out making movies in Super 8. And, to actually meet somebody else who'd actually finished a movie in Super 8. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I had a question for him.
Oh man, well I'll try to regurgitate it to him. Man, all right.
Okay.
What's your question?
Well, Eastman Kodak has been trying for like a year now. They've been talking about putting out a new Super 8 film camera.
A new Super 8 camera.
And
okay.
they've got some new Super 8 film stocks. And I don't know if Bret knows about that or not. The new camera supposedly has video assist built in. It is film. Does shoot film. But anyway, they're trying to get this going. And I just wondered what Bret, having made some films in Super 8, what he thinks, whether he thinks it's a good idea for up-and-coming filmmakers out there, kids out there that are wanting to make a film. If Bret thinks that they should just shoot with video, since video is awesome now.
Yeah.
Or do actual film. I myself, I love film. I'm a sprocket head, and I've shot both film and video, and I still prefer film. But
okay.
Anyway, I just wondered what he thought about that.
Okay. All right. Just make sure so it's a new Super 8 camera that's coming out.
Yeah, it's a camera that I forget what they call it, but it's a camera that Kodak has put out. And if you go to their website, they show it, but they keep talking about, it's going to be released in 2018, and 2018's almost over.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, and you can go on YouTube and they show that people have shot with it,
all right,
tests with it, and it's awesome. And anyway.
All right, I'll definitely ask him that, and I'll also probably go into whether or not if he prefers like digital or Super 8 as well. All right. Well, thanks for calling in. I do apologize. I'm not able to merge it. This feature used to be here.
No, that's all right.
So I'll go ahead and end the call now. I'll go ahead and retire you for right now, and go back to the main board. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All
right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, sorry about that. So I wasn't able to merge you guys together.
That's okay. We were talking about you.
Oh, that's great. That's why my ears are burning over here.
Nah.
Oh man. So okay.
I'm kidding. We were talking about Bret's book.
This is gonna be hilarious because now I'm gonna have to regurgitate the question so the chat can hold me accountable for this. So that was Gary. He was calling. He was wanting to ask you, Brad, about. I don't know if you know about. There's a new camera by Kodak. It's supposed to come out in 2018. And it's supposed to do like digital video and also Super 8. One, do you know about this camera? And two, would you recommend it to newbies starting out, or pretty much in general? Would you recommend it?
Well, I shot the Abomination and Ozone on Super 8, and I think the low res quality of that format, especially for the film stocks we had back then, fit perfectly with the ultra low budget horror genre. Mm-hmm. But I think now, with the whole digital revolution and everything that's happened since then, I think people have gotten so used to a really pristine image. And then sometimes when you want to creep it up and trash it up and make it look like old film with the, specks of dirt and all that kind of stuff, you can do that. You can degrade the image. But I think almost all filmmakers nowadays want to start out with a really clean image that they can trash up if they decide to in the editing stage.
That's a pretty good take. It's pretty interesting. I didn't know if you were going to go like old school and be, to be like, oh no, always Super 8 or always film. But, yeah. Okay. And there was another caller that I had to pretty much ignore at the time because I was talking to Gary. But if you were trying to call in, you can call in now and ask your question. It's, feel free to. But, all right. I think that helps. All right. Where were we before the caller? I know we were. That's right. You talking about your story about the headless, the headhunters from outer space.
Headhunters from outer space. But then Bex was asking me about this novel that I just finished writing, It's called Skin Dreams, and then in parentheses below that, Poor White Trash Part 3. And it's a bizarre horror novel about this girl who commits her first murder when she's like 10 years old, and then is kept in a mental institution until she's 18. She's finally released, but she doesn't like the halfway house and doesn't like the conservative lifestyle that the state is trying to encourage her to live. And so she runs away and just kind of on the spot decides she wants to be a tattoo artist. And she goes to Austin, Texas and pursues that. And then all kinds of weird shit starts happening to her.
Okay. Man, but that's one.
Anyway, Becky read the novel and she really liked it. And that gives me hope because, I'm 60 years old and I'm writing about an 18-year-old girl. And I wasn't sure if I was hitting it or missing it, but Becky seems to think that it works. So
it does. It really does. Story. I wanted to go get her and bring her home with me and protect her and take care of her and make sure she had food and so that in itself, you've definitely done your job there, and then all the stuff that goes on in it. She gets herself into more trouble. I told him, I said, I kind of identify with her. I'm not sure exactly why, but it's a really good book. And the tattoo artist that takes her in and kind of shows her the ropes and everything. And he's got a roommate that loves movies and he's got quite a collection, and he teaches her about them and they watch them and they talk about them. It's just really cool. I mean, the storyline to this is really, really, really great. I love it. So
thanks, Bex.
You're welcome.
I mean, that's one hell of a backstory for that little girl. What was your inspiration behind that?
I wanted to write. You've probably seen the movie Sling Blade, haven't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to write.
Hold on, we got a caller. One moment. Sorry, let me take this fast.
Yeah.
All right, how's it going? You're on the Deadman Stone podcast. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good. I was calling in to ask Bret a question.
All right. What's your question? Due to Skype or for some reason I'm not able to merge you guys together, it's literally not even giving me the option. You should just right click and be like good. Merge. But anyway, okay. Well, what's the question you got here?
Well, this is Matt from Horror Boots in New York City, and I wanted to ask Bret to talk about the rich history of Texas Schlock cinema and some of the other classic cult directors that he befriended.
Okay. Classic co-directors?
Like S.F. Brown Rigg. Yeah, like S.F. Brown Rigg, who made Scum of the Earth, which is Poor White Trash, which is the namesake of the book he's talking about right now.
Okay. All right, so rich Texas Schlock history. All right, classic co-directors that he made as friends. And all right. And
cool.
All right, I'll do my best to regurgitate that. So I take it you are listening.
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, I'll do my best. All right. Anyway.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Ended up taking care of herself, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Sure
okay. Did. So in the future, you're going to have to find a way to resolve this. It used to just be a thing that Skype would automatically do. I don't know what I have to do if I need to suck Microsoft's cock or just pray to... well, I probably should have just prayed to them first and then offered that. What the hell? Sorry. It's not
I'm confused. Does Microsoft have a cock?
They do right now.
I don't know. Probably not.
But you do notice that Jesse has decided that he's doing that and not me, right?
Well, you probably appreciate that, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna pimp out Becky. No. I'll take one for the team. But that was Matt. Matt wanted you to talk about the rich history of Texas Schlock, and also talk about the classic co-directors you made us friends along the way, and also the director of Scum of the Earth. So there's like three questions in one.
All right, so that was Matt calling in. That was probably Matt Devlin.
Yeah.
The guy that I did the Abomination and Ozone with, and Tabloid.
Oh man, that was him. Oh man, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Matt and Glenn Coburn were the first co-directors that I ever worked with, and they were both local guys in Dallas, and we were all kind of just starting out and fumbling through the process. Although I got to say, Glenn had already made Bloodsuckers from Outer Space, and he was actually a very competent director. And Matt and I were just kind of like newcomers and trying to learn, okay? And he wanted to talk about the director of Scum of the Earth. That would be S.F. Brownrigg. He did his most famous film is Don't Look in the Basement. And that was a very low-budget movie that was made for about $25,000 back in 1972. They turned around and sold it outright to American International Pictures for $50,000. And that thing played the drive-ins for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Regularly. I mean, it's like it never went out of style. It's like truly a drive-in horror movie classic. Well, Brownie Brownrigg, I'd heard stories about him, and I'd seen some of his films. And so out of the blue, I kind of called him up and asked him to go out and have drinks. And that was the beginning of a friendship that lasted many years. And he was sort of my mentor as I was learning to be a schlockmeister in my own right.
Okay. Man.
Oh, okay. It was Matt Desiderio. He's going, ha, ha, ha. Brett, it was me, not Devlin. Okay, Matt Desiderio. Matt Desiderio is this great guy. He works for this great shop in New York City called Forbidden Planet. Have you ever heard of it?
Sounds familiar.
He's like one of the managers at Forbidden Planet, and he bought copies of my book to sell there. I met him at the Texas Frightmare Weekend, and he's like this really he has an encyclopedic knowledge of B-movies. The guy, he needs to write something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit, he's definitely a guy I need to have on the show because need to have like maybe top 10 B-movie, like top 10 horror B-movie, and I need to get someone who's really knowledgeable about that. Okay. All right. Man.
Have him send me a friend request, Brett.
Yeah. Let's
okay.
Check that out. Man. And see, I wasn't aware of the rich history of Schlock, especially here in Texas. You know, it's just, wow. Man,
a lot of people see the movies and don't know that they were made here, you know?
I mean,
right.
I'm surprised.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just to say I'm surprised that like it didn't like have its own like industry. I mean, I guess it does, but I mean, they could make a comeback now. He did an anthology with
Hellbound too, where he compiled and edited it.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that. They with the Texas. Roadkill, is that right?
No,
Yeah, I did
Oh yeah.
Roadkill Volume 1, Roadkill Volume 2, and then I did one called Schlock Horror for Hellbound.
Okay.
Right.
And I love editing anthologies because I get a chance to read all this crazy stuff that young people are writing now.
Yeah.
I discovered this really great writer named James Pepe, who's a teacher, college level writing instructor in Portland. He submitted a story called Black Sun House, and it just blew me away. So weird. It like took me into another dimension.
Oh
Right.
man, I need to check out that story. Is he in that anthology, or is he in one of them, or?
Yeah, he's in the Schlock Horror Anthology.
Okay, I gotta check that
From
one out.
Hellbound.
All right. Well, I might just be buying that copy. Buying a copy of it. Let's see. Gotta check it out. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, you want one.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get one for sure. So what was that like? What's it like work with Hellbound and work with them with the editing and all that?
James is like really easy to work with. The first two anthologies I did were with E.R. Bills, and he's an extremely talented nonfiction writer. And we met at this book fest and started talking, and he pitched me this idea of doing a horror anthology. And originally I was just going to submit a story to his anthology, but then he asked me to co-edit, so I did, Volume 1 and 2. Volume 3 just came out, but I wasn't involved in the editing of that one. So ER and I were kind of like fumbling through the process, reinventing the wheel. And when I got to work with James, it was the process was very smooth because he had a lot of experience as editor and publisher, and it just, it was like a well-oiled machine. It was relatively effortless compared to the other two anthologies I put together. And so we're talking about doing another anthology for Hellbound in the spring. It's going to be called The Toilet Zone.
Oh, The Toilet Zone?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, a bathroom reader of terrifying tales designed to loosen the bowels.
Oh man, that sounds like the Deadman's Tome shit fest, shit show. I like those stories, man.
And flushed. Yeah.
Oh man.
Remember I read that? That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a good story. It's like that. It reminds me of that scene from like Ghoulies 2 when they're the little demon guy, little ghoulies in the toilet.
Yes.
He bites a guy's ass.
Yeah.
Ever since that movie, man, I have to double check a toilet, just make sure there's nothing in there that's gonna bite me.
That's right. You never know.
Oh,
You never know.
And then, hey, Becky.
That's not why I check it. I check it to make sure there's no spiders.
Oh yeah, there's spiders. Sometimes spiders hide. Did you know that sometimes snakes can get in to the plumbing and like be into a? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to.
That doesn't creep me out near as bad as
That's a spider.
Spiders.
So wait.
Spiders, I'm terrified of.
Hold on. So wait, would you rather have a black widow or a cobra in that toilet bowl?
Cobra.
Oh, you would rather have a cobra. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I kid you not.
If a black widow was in your toilet bowl, it would probably just drown. One time my grandmother was sitting on the toilet and she heard this splashing and she looked down and a rat had come up out of the toilet. And it totally freaked her out,
A shit
Oh
rat.
my God.
Okay. I guess right then
Oh my
you have
God.
one thing to do. You just go ahead and release the bowels and you flush.
Yeah,
Bye, rat.
exactly.
Go back down there and
You
die.
just fight your But
You don't stop and think about it. You just do it.
You just do it. Like the guy in Abomination. You just do it, man. You just do it. Man,
That's right.
Those props look really
That
awesome.
guy, incidentally, that Brother Fogg in the Abomination, the evangelist, that was my stepfather, B.R. Flores. He was a big-time commercial real estate broker or dealer, or whatever you call them, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And
Okay.
he, out of the goodness of his heart, played that role, and I think he did a damn good job.
I think he did too. Man. Now, as far as like your writing career goes, like what is the one? What's the one story that like really stuck with you?
As far as in
Well,
the anthologies that I've edited, or are you talking about just in general?
Just in general, really, just in general.
Story that really stuck with me would be the story by Ray Bradbury about the guy who gets freaked out, thinking that he's got a skeleton in his body, and so he calls this specialist, and the specialist ends up eating his skeleton.
Oh man,
oh,
that's pretty wicked.
Wow, I haven't read that one.
That's pretty wild.
I was a kid when I read that, and it kind of creeps me out.
No, I'd be creeped out about that. Shit, man, I'd be horrified. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about your stories? Like, what's one of the stories that you've written that really like sticks with you? The one that gave you, I guess, the hardest, the most difficult time to write, a difficult experience to write.
Well, the ones that are difficult to write, I'm probably still working on. They aren't out there yet.
Well,
but,
yeah.
I really, when I finished writing Headhunters from Outer Space, I felt like I had done something good. I felt like it was something that a lot of people could read and really appreciate on a few different levels.
Yeah.
And it's just, a matter of making people aware that the book exists. It's gotten some really good reviews, and most of the people who have read it say really good things about it, and they are amazed that it takes off in a different direction than anything they imagined from the title.
Okay.
From Outer Space.
Yeah, that's another one I need to check in. Okay, I have a list. I have a list going here.
We're gonna keep Jesse busy for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right, and what's your favorite horror film?
Oh, let's see. My favorite horror film is probably The Endless.
Oh,
have you heard of that one?
The Endless. Wait, have I seen this one? I don't. Wait.
Yeah. I think I'm getting the title right. Let me double check here real quick.
By the way, I was shot here. No one has asked any "Have you ever" questions. Everyone's tame tonight. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and take the shot
because they
now.
couldn't call in. They probably would have been bolder if they were online with us. The Endless, 2017, directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. It's a very low budget, totally creepy, totally unexpected horror film. You can watch it now on, I think it's either on Netflix or Amazon Prime. I just stumbled upon it about a month ago, and I cannot speak highly enough. It is one of the weirdest. It's got elements of H.P. Lovecraft. It's got elements of just it takes horror off in a totally unexpected direction, and I'll be watching it over and over again.
Man, I'm surprised I haven't seen
that,
this.
man.
Yeah, especially it's on a streaming service, so I have no excuse. Have to watch it. Oh man.
Right. Didn't cost me a dime to watch it, and I was totally blown away.
So, what do you think about all these? I mean, what do you think about how? First of all, and right now in mainstream movies, horror seems to be pretty popular, right? You got like A Quiet Place, and you got a bunch of Conjuring stuff. So, and you know, like the Witch and Get Out. So, how do you feel about right now? How like as modern movies are, and how they treat horror?
Well, I think I'm probably not the best person to ask that question because although I read a great deal of horror nowadays, I really don't watch that many horror films. And the reason is because I find so many of them redundant. You know, they just seem to be dealing with a lot of the same tropes and that's why when I see something like The Endless that takes me in a totally unexpected direction, I really appreciate it.
Man, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
You know, up until like 1996, I watched every horror film that came out that I knew of. You know, I made it a point to see all of them. And then when I got out of the film business, I just kind of went in a different direction for about at least 10 years, closer to 20. And really the only reason in 2014, I started writing horror stories again.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, I sold a few of the stories, you know, short stories. And so I was encouraged. And then I got kind of a little more serious about writing and had some encouragement, like I said, from E.R. Bills and others to write about my years as a filmmaker. So that's kind of brought me full circle back to where I'm dealing with that on some level. But a lot of what I want to write really isn't horror at all. A lot of it's just literature, you know.
Yeah, just want to branch out and do other things, and that's good too. There's strength in diversity. I mean, a lot of the successful writers I talk to on this program, that's one thing they have in common is that they don't put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak. They kind of diversify and they do other things. One guy I spoke with, if I can recall his name, he actually made a career, made money writing like quiz books. Is that Roush? That was Roush, huh? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. He made a career writing quiz books. Yeah, he likes to write fiction, but he did that because it paid the bills, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So, where are you now with your writing? Is your writing helping you? Is it covering the bills? Is it kind of helping you here and there? Is it just like growing popularity?
I don't at this point in time, I'm not making enough money off of my writing to live on.
Okay.
But that is a goal. That is a goal that I'm working towards. And my problem is that I have so many ideas, I can't possibly write them all before I die. So I don't know what writer's block is. I've never experienced it. And I think I want to explore writing in a number of different genres. Almost everything I write has a sense of humor about it. Even the horror stuff I write has some humor woven into it. A couple of the first stories I sold were to Saturday Evening Post, and they're just humorous stories that have no horror elements at all. So,
yeah.
I definitely have a lot of funny ideas in my head that I want to put down on paper as well.
Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, that's definitely the goal, and diversifying and doing other things is going to help. What are your thoughts? I know we're kind of kind of going a little bit overtime here, but what are your thoughts about, let's say, like traditional versus like self-publishing?
Well, I think the self-publishing, the publishing print-on-demand technology has done the same thing for publishing that the digital video has done for filmmaking, and that it's made publishing accessible to everybody. And that's good in that everyone can get a book out there, and it doesn't. If you go through Kindle, it doesn't have to cost you anything. And but then you have the challenge of finding out creative ways to make people know that your book exists.
Yeah.
And then there's the frustration to the readers of having to wade through a lot of stuff that's not that great, just like with the movies. Like a friend of mine, Rob Hochschild, has a releasing company called Wild Eye Releasing, and they've got like 300 horror titles out. And there's no way I could watch all of them because some of them aren't that great, and it's too much, I'm not at a point in my life where I want to sit down and watch 300 independent horror movies. And it's kind of the same way, I support all the local authors that I know here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. When they put out a new book, I always buy a copy, and sometimes I buy more than one copy if I'm impressed with the book. But I've started reading a lot of novels that I didn't finish reading because there are a lot of not very good novels being published now.
Yeah. I mean, that's something going to happen when everybody has access to publish anything and everything, and there's no one to say no. Sit down and finish this again. Work on it. Some people, about like the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper should be like your dad. Be like, no, you sit back down. You work on this book again, son. You don't say anything half-ass. You do all ass or no ass. Don't half-ass this thing.
Don't you come out of your room until that novel's polished.
Yeah. So maybe Kindle can have that program. Maybe Amazon can put that there. But then again,
I volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want the nose stamp.
The nose stamp. Get the fuck out of here.
Except mine will say, yeah, that's exactly what mine will say. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know, Becky.
Hell no.
Would you approve of the classic masterpiece, this masterpiece erotic tale called Taken by the Toaster?
Oh my God.
Taken by the Toaster?
It's a real story. It's a real book.
That sounds interesting. Is it good? Is it a good one?
Oh yeah, it's very good. It's hilarious.
If it's good, then you know that I would like it. So yeah, I would.
Yeah.
If it's full of shit and misspelling and bad punctuation and it it needs work, then no, I wouldn't.
The writing level is better than average. Yeah, it's like the charm of that story is just how you get this middle-aged man who lives with his parents to fall in love with an inanimate object that they got him for Christmas, the toaster.
Ooh.
And he,
is it a smart toaster?
I'm sorry?
Is it a smart toaster? Like, does it like talk and everything?
You would think. No, this is a basic white, like $10 toaster, and he starts fingering it. Apparently, it does something for him. He starts doing other things to it, so putting his digging it and shit like that. It's like, oh my God, but he has to apply lube, and then it also talks about how like it hurts him too, but the pain feels good. It's like, oh God. It's like, okay. How did I find out about this book?
Creepy, dude. Sounds very creepy.
Yeah. How did you find this book?
Oh, there was this.
Do I even want to know?
Yeah, that's all right. There was this podcast I used to do called After Dark. What I would find like the most bizarre like erotic stuff on Amazon and pretty much read it because I was like, I mean, I really don't think the author's gonna flag me for copyright or whatever because it's like someone's actually reading their book,
Right.
you know. But I stopped doing that because it kind of hit a dead end, you know, because it's like after you taken by the toaster, where else can you go? Where else can you go? I mean, it's only just taken by the vacuum.
There's always a new frontier.
Well,
How about a Thanksgiving turkey?
oh, they have a horror movie about that.
There's a book
Things
about
killing.
that. I kid you not.
Oh shit!
It
Taken by
was
the turkey.
published on Amazon.
Man, I gotta read that. Taken by the turkey. I tell you what.
I think it's called The Bird. I'll have to find
The
it for you.
Bird. I see. I think I might bring After Dark back and read those erotic stories, but only for the patrons. Got to read it to them and let them know that this is what you get.
Ooh.
So if you're gutter minded like I am, and apparently how Becky is, consider being a patron of Deadman's Tome. Patreon.com/Deadman's Tome. Very easy.
Did you forget that I have Dark Erotica published?
Yeah, I was trying to make you seem nicer. Make you seem more like more innocent.
Yeah, they know better. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we are coming towards the end here. Before we go, Mr. McCormick, is there anything you would like to plug or talk about or, before you go?
Well, I want to say that Christmas is coming up very soon. Everyone knows at least one film geek, and every film geek on the planet loves my book, Texas Schlock. It makes a perfect gift for those film geeks on your Christmas list. So either order it from Amazon or visit my website, collectorsreleases.com, and order it directly from me.
Oh, man, that just reminded me of something, too. Sorry. Because your movies are actually going to get more popular because of YouTube, because there's channels that are, like, blowing up talking about these B movies and stuff like that. There's another one. Another YouTuber I watch a lot of, the Cinemassacre. Well, he's known as AVGN, the Angry Video Game Nerd. I love his shit. Like, everything he puts out, I watch. But he has this new show now where it's like Cinemassacre Rentals, where it's all set up where like they're renting like these like B movies or movies you probably never really heard of before, and they kind of talk about it. They have like a few like known, I guess, movies to talk about just to kind of like get the word out about the show. But some of the other stuff, man, it's like, man, where are they going with this? Where are they going with that? So I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if like the Abomination or I don't know, maybe Macon County, got on that list. That would be interesting, man.
It would be interesting, and as I said, everything gets more respectable as it ages. So,
yeah,
I think you're probably right.
Man, well, Bret, it was great talking to you, man. It was so cool. I enjoyed this. I learned a lot about Schlock horror, and there's a list of movies I need to watch. So definitely send them my way.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, gentlemen.
Becky, always a pleasure, dear.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You are wonderful.
And
Thank
ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, press the thumbs up button. Share around to someone that likes the stuff. Come on, you know someone. And also subscribe to the channel. Subscribe and hit that little bell button. That way you know when we go live. Okay? Y'all take it easy.
Bye.
Adios.